Furry and Brick decide to come back from the dead, but when they realise Brick is still there, they just say fuck it and lie back down. This really pisses Brick off, so she tries to kill a squirrel. Thank God Brick is Brick, because she misses. The squirrel gets away and Broccoli finds it. He sets fire to some paper with his laser vision and cooks it for dinner. Back at the hideout, Boomboxs and 2 members of Evanescence show up. They're not the biggest fans of Brick jokes, so they've came to take her out of Badly Explained. Brick's not got much going on and she's grown quite tired of living, so she decides to fight back for the first fucking time in the show. Now, one thing that nobody knows about Brick is she's got more family members than an inbred hillbilly. So her auntie, Big Motherfucking Log, shows up. Boombox smells his own finger and uses his fart magic to blow up Big Motherfucking Log. Broccoli finds the group and decides they can use the death of her aunt to get some sweet brick pussy. So he kicks all 3 Sound Ninja in the dick. Even Amy Lee Domo. Broccoli, with a full belly of squirrel meat, bravely stands between Brick and her aggressors. And he also decides to stuff the squirrel, making a kick-ass shoulder pad. Before the fight begins, Brick's uncle, the entire cast of Roots 1977, shows up and hurts Boombox. So Broccoli gives Boombox some more bandages and a big old hug. Such a big hug, in fact, that they fall over. Boombox falls out with Broccoli over it, and he uses his fart magic to make him very sad. Whilst Broccoli is down, Boombox decides to rub some salt in that wound. He explains to Broccoli that not only is his boombox a boombox, it's also a vibrator, and above the smell of his fart magic, the thing that makes you really throw up is the smell of your mum. Then he decides to touch him with it. Broccoli gets real sick of Boombox's shit, so he pretends to sleep until he goes away. Brick decides to accept her fate and tries to please her new fart overlords. She throws them over some Oreos and does a little dance, but the guy from Evanescence thinks that Boombox has one too many followers, so he tries to shoot her with an invisible gun. It has no effect because bricks have resistance against bullshit type attacks. Amy Lee isn't a fan of self-expression, so she grabs Brick by the pink hair and screams, "Bring me to life!" Brick doesn't know what to do. Amy Lee shouts, "Bring me to life, motherfucker!" Amy Lee's becoming undone. Brick can't see into her eyes like open doors. Brick now knows that Amy Lee's core has become somewhat numb, and that she's not going to get out of this one alive, so she decides to cut herself. She misses and ends up cutting off her hair, but she's free anyway, so good for her. This pisses off Amy Lee, so she decides to stab Brick's cousin, Loggy McLoggerton, and the guy from Evanescence feels like Amy Lee is taking the spotlight just like their music career, so he stabs Brick's little brother Stubbs. Brick sees that the guy from Evanescence is the Brick of their group, so she decides to stab him in the face. Brick being the most offensive insult in the ninja world, the guy from Evanescence gets really pissed off, and he decides to punch her in the face over and over again. Britney Spears, Constipated Goth, and Chunk show up, and inspired by Brick, Britney Spears decides to cut off her hair too. Emo catches fire, so Brick decides to sit this one out to try and figure out why the fire's actually purple. Chunk develops an eating disorder and tries to sit on one of the members of Evanescence, but because the guy from Evanescence is so scared of fat people, Boombox tries to help him out by distracting him, so he does the YMCA. Britney Spears tries to think for the first time in her life, and it looks so exhausting that Amy Lee gets distracted. Princess Leia and Chinstrap show up to the party and think this whole thing's so ridiculous that they just decide to draw silly shapes all over Emo. Emo doesn't know who's done it, so he takes his frustration out by breaking the arms of the guy from Evanescence. He thought the band's music was too mainstream anyway. Emo's about to steal Boombox's boombox, but Brick's had enough. She throws a brick at Emo, but let us not forget that Brick is Brick, so she ends up just lunging at him until he stops. Our team have won the day, and a bunch of unimportant stuff happens. The team make it to the Tower of Dank with the 2 scrolls, and the next round of the tuning exams are ready to begin.